Sexy Canna. Yo, what's up, Cy? How you doing? What's up, Holly? What's up, Katie? What's up, Nix? How's everyone doing? How you guys? Um, we're gonna start the video off a little bit different today. All right. Let me F11. We're gonna start the video off different. I want to do a live stream, right? In which similar to what we did for Wuthering Waves, we're gonna do this live. I'm gonna make a tier list video talking about characters. So say hi to YouTube, everyone. I don't know everyone's in chat, but just say hi to YouTube. YouTube's gonna be able to see your guys' comments and stuff and yada yada yada. Because I'm definitely gonna upload this. All right, so Duet Night Abyss has been out for a week now, and there's already people who made tier list videos as of like day one. I didn't want to do that. And the reason why I didn't want to do that is that I'm not trying to be the holier than thou kind of person, because I'm not holier than thou, which is why I'm making a tier list video myself as of right now. I did think it was a little bit too soon at the time to talk about some of these characters, even though I had a really good idea about most of them. So I'm going to give you my personal take. The grading I'm going to do for some of these characters, I'm going to be as honest as possible based off my experience with them or some of the builds I already have cooked up for some of these characters. So a little theory crafting is going to play a role in things. Now that we fully understand the game's mechanics and the way Hero has went about nerfing some characters and stuff like that, I will definitely try to be as accurate as possible. Just know that this is as of 1.0. 1.1, some of these characters can change and shift, and I'll explain why. Essentially because of the way the immersive theater works. So the immersive theater right now is technically the only real end game inside the game right now that most people are going to be like trying to build towards, and that is very elemental specific. So if you didn't know, in Duet Night Abyss, if you are playing this game and you are playing outside of the recommended element, you get hit with the 50% damage nerf, which is kind of substantial. Like that's huge, right? Whereas if you are playing the recommended element, you do a 400% damage increase. So some of those characters are actually going to get boosted above their normal actual performance inside the thresholds or game modes or even the elemental specific requirements. Now, this isn't just for immersive theater, believe it or not. This effect actually carries over into like other game modes when you're farming like exploration and stuff like that too. So depending on what kind of content you're going to do, some characters may shift around and yada yada yada. Some characters are just naturally so strong that they don't even care that their damage is being nerfed. They just end up pumping out massive amounts of damage. So we're going to rank characters overall based off of their quality of life, right? Like how easy it is to build them, how like I guess how effective they are on your account in terms of clearing all content. Like, can you actually have this character hyper carry your account to get you more loot and materials to help build your other units for future contents, or just because you want to play with them for fun? I wouldn't naturally rate every character around like an S, to be honest, because again, game is a power fantasy based off builds. But as of right now, there are some demon wedges that I feel like don't exist for some characters that would really help them out. And there are some problems with some characters' kits as a whole. But we're taking too long. Let's jump right in. I just wanted to give you guys the basis for how we're going to be rating these characters. So with Berenica, starting off with her, I think Berenica, honestly, I'm going to throw Berenica in S tier. She actually has a lot of damage on her, and she's really simple to build, is another thing I really like about Berenica. She's good for your bossing. She does have a little bit of mobbing potential. Like, so if you get into like those long corridors, especially based off how the maps are designed, she can actually rip through mobs pretty easily. And she does really good damage in and outside of her element specific attribute. And the way Umbro damage works is honestly pretty cool. So if you didn't know, it like does like implies like 6 stacks like every other effect inside the game. So when you get like the 6 dot ticks or whatever like that, or maybe they actually like just, I think it does like a little explosion or something like that, or just another burst of damage. It's really cool. So Umbro is actually really strong. So Berenica is really good. We love Barry. Don't sleep on this character. Daphne. Now Daphne isn't a damage dealer, but Daphne is an excellent support unit. She's probably like right now, currently as a 1.0, the best support inside the game. She actually provides healing. She's also a universal ally to have on the team, so her passive is actually giving her more of a boost than others. but she also does coordinated attack damage. So because of her coordinated attack damage, if you are using a character that's like a weapon platform or anything like that, she will do coordinated attacks with her Enemo abilities, and it's pretty nice. So you get like a little DPS boost there. I'm not gonna throw an SS. The reason I'm not going to throw in SS is because the AI, if you use her as a support, the main issue that she runs into is that the AI right now just keeps spamming her abilities when you don't really need them sometimes. So she does suffer from sanity issues, and you got to build into a lot of skill efficiency and stuff like that to get her up and running. And if you're just trying to use her as just a team buffer slash healer, a lot of your materials and investments are going to go into this character, and you kind of don't want to do that. I mean, it would pay off if you put her SS, but I don't really think it makes too much of a difference as of right now, especially because how clunky the AI is. I do think she needs a little bit more range, but because she is a good, again, a great support healer, and she's good for characters like Psyche, and overall just in general anyone, I'm gonna throw her in S tier. I think that's fair to say. SS is gonna be like that's just like perfect, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Fina isn't out yet, but I know Fina is cracked, so stay tuned for Fina. But I'm just gonna throw in unsure. But although 100%, realistically, Fina is gonna be SS. Fina's gonna be SS. She's gonna be absolutely sensational when she drops, and I know a lot of people are gonna love her. But we're just gonna, because she's unreleased. Actually, here, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna add another tab here. We're gonna add a row below, right? And we're gonna move her here, and we're just gonna put unreleased, right? Just so that way. You're not just taking my word for it, right? One second, let me sip some water real quick. Oh my god. Why do you hate me? No one hates you. All right. I have no idea who this character is. I'm just gonna put unreleased because she's obviously not released. So I'm gonna slam her there. She looks cool though. She looks really, really, really cool. But she's going in the unreleased category because I'd be lying. Um, Hellfire. Hellfire, I know some people really liked Hellfire. I haven't built Hellfire yet. In fact, she completely eluded my account this week. She didn't drop me a single thought. But because she is an HP scaler, I'm going to throw Hellfire in the. I'm gonna throw her in the C tier. I'm gonna say C tier for endgame. And the reason I'm gonna say C tier for now is because I don't see any Hellfires up inside the end game right now. And her HP scaling, the way HP scaling works inside this game is that you miss out on a lot of your damage, right? It's just the way the game scaling works. They didn't take into consideration HP scalers. It's mainly taken into consideration attack scalers. And because Hellfire does want a lot of HP, she kind of starts falling off later on. And I think that's why like a lot of players are starting to just skip her. Now, a couple of demon wedges could fix her, and overall, like maybe when you start building like late game, like when you start getting all gold demon wedges fully maxed out and stuff like that, she might be able to excel inside the end game. But as of right now, where it currently stands, that's a lot of investment to theorycraft on a unit. So I'm just gonna throw in C tier. I think she's really good at you know AOE clearing, getting you through commissions and stuff like that pretty early on. And you'll have like a good time. Maybe even like some level 80s when you're actually like on that part. But like when you start getting to like enemies slightly like above your level, even though she can't die, she also can't kill from what I've noticed. So I'm just gonna put her in C tier. Now my opinions could always change when I actually get to the point where I can personally build Hellfire myself. But as of right now, I'm just going off of what some of my buddies been saying, what I've personally been seeing with Hellfire around, and also what I know about the game's build mechanics. So we're gonna put her in C tier. I think that's fair. Nifl is gonna be my first SS character. She's honestly sensational. Her damage scaling is probably some of the highest damage scaling inside the entire game, even at I0. Not even getting her I6. Because she's also a standard unit, you can go out and you can farm multiple copies of her, which just makes her even better. So her stocks are only going up. Based off the trend that's going on right now, or I should say trend, but based off what we know with like how Psyche is a Enemo character, right? Psyche's Enemo, and in the immersive theater right now it's Enemo and Pyro, and Fina is Lumino. So if the next immersive theater, the update when Fina takes into rotation, takes Psyche's place, if they switch it to a Lumino base, that's also just gonna immediately make the Nifl mains just skyrocket her stocks. But even without it being Lumina right now, Niffle is just honestly a great damage dealer. She does absurd amounts of damage even when she's heavily suppressed and nerfed at just I0 alone. Um, she also provides grouping, so she just makes dealing with large crowds and mobs so much easier. So she offers basically a form of survivability and sustain that, like, you wouldn't naturally think about because of how she just AoEs, like CCs, large groups of enemies, and then also just slams them down to the ground like a trash compactor. So she's great. She's really really good. Dominant at bossing and really good for defense missions. Really good just in general. In any game mode really. So yeah, she's just the beast. The first SS character on this list. Lisbel. Lisbel I think is honestly really really cracked out. I know some people are gonna like judge me about that. I love Lisbel. I think Lisbel is honestly a phenomenal character. She's really really powerful. She does massive amount of damage similar to that of Niffle. She doesn't have like the crazy AoE like Niffle though, like the CC capabilities, but she does have AoE. It's just not as good as Niffle's, right? But who cares? Her bossing potential is really, really, really good as well. But because she is a consonants user and she's also an event user, or character, it's kind of hard to like really consistently farm up all of her stacks and try to get multiple. So you will have to spend money on this character. So for that, I'm gonna put her in S tier because she's strong. She's definitely a dominant unit, but you can't maximize this character the way you can maximize some of these other characters. So I'm gonna put her in S. Um, and the consonants demon wedges are going to be a pain to consistently farm, so you can try to get the gold wedges when you are in end game. And that's just going to take a lot of your time and resources away from like other units you can potentially be building. But as of right now, S tier, right? I think that's super fair to say. Lynn is going to be our second double SS character. This girl is phenomenal. Ignore all of the Lynn hate. Lynn is honestly great. Again, she's kind of like Niffle in the sense that she gets the buff from the fact that she can get you can farm her. She's a standard character, so you can get multiple I6. So that's honestly great. So she's really powerful, even at I0, but her I6 is kind of nasty, and I2 is really good. Hero Games also just did a buff not too long ago where they just updated her and fixed some issues inside her kit where she was applying laceration like for free and all that stuff like that. So they just changed some of that stuff up now, but it hasn't really hurt her. It's really good, regardless. But she can instantly shred bosses. She can mow down mobs. Even if you don't have a character like Rebecca, so you get tired of seeing Rebecca's and all that stuff like that, you can get creative with Lynn. She also is the current immersive theater hyper carry, so you can definitely thrive in all forms of content right now with a Lynn on your team. Definitely get this character. Margie, I love this character. I haven't fully built her yet, but her companion skills is honestly pretty good. I'm gonna put her in A tier right now because I haven't built her yet for her full blown damage, right? But I do like to sometimes use Margie for her passive. Her attack boost is a really big, huge attack boost. So if you slap her on with some other characters on the side, maybe you want some more AoE, and maybe you want like a little attack boost for characters like your Rebecca, right? Because you may not have Tabby, then she's a good substitute because she doesn't need any other specific requirements with her passive. Her passive isn't asking for you to be like the same element as her. She just straight up just gives your team an attack boost. So she's good for that sense, and it's a big, big, substantial attack boost. So I'm gonna throw Margie A tier for that very reason. Also, she's a standard character, so you can get her I6 at any given point in time, and that kind of just like increases her stocks. Oh, and immersive theater is currently a thing right now, and pyro units, and Margie is a pyro unit, so you can slap Margie on your team even with characters like Lynn. Go figure. So definitely worth investing into this character, even if you're not gonna like build the character. Just slapping her on as just like your little AoE AI companion booster with like maybe like a Daphne for some heals, some extra sustain. You got like an AoE mobber here who's getting like 400% damage increase on top of the fact she's giving your team an attack boost. Yeah, she's kind of cracked with Lynn, you know? So definitely don't sleep on this character. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She's great. Outsider. This guy, I am really, really looking forward to building him. I'm gonna throw him in SS. He's gonna be my SS unit, and the only reason why I'm gonna say he's gonna be my SS unit is because, well, I already have a build completely cooked up for him. He's currently an NMO character, so currently as of 1.0, with the immersive theater. You can go and dominate content with for Psyche and farm your Psyche stuff with this guy. He's really easy to build too. Really straightforward. Does insane amounts of damage. Everyone should tell you right now, like this guy is just out. He's just I just can't. I just can't. He's just god tier and hella fun to play. Right. So I'm gonna throw him up in SS. Uh, Fantasio. This guy. I'm gonna put him in unsure. I'm gonna put him in unsure only because I do have him. I just haven't got a chance to build him yet. I do think overall he's going to probably be somewhere hovering like when I get all of his demon wedges and stuff like that, I can see him being somewhere around like the SS or S rank, but I don't want to lie yet. I might not even have fun with this kit, right? So I think out of sheer biasness, he would probably be somewhere around like a B tier for me. I don't think his mobbing potential looks really good. I think he's probably going to be a good bosser, like someone who's really good at killing bosses. So I'm going to just place him in unsure for now because looking at his actual kit, I don't really see him mobbing like crazy well like some of these other characters. It's not really like anything substantial, right? So he's more of like a boss shredder. And I haven't built him to see is he actually effective at shredding bosses. So I'm gonna put him in unsure just to be on the safe side. We'll come back to this probably sometime soon. Psyche is definitely a double S. She's definitely a double S. I would probably put her in the triple S category. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Psyche's in a league of her own right now. She does insane amount of damage inside and outside the immersive theater. Inside the immersive theater, she's doing over like 300k a shot, and outside the immersive theater, she's still doing over like 100k a shot. You know, and with how fast her fire rate is, her multi shot, and the fact that she can also avoid crowds, and if you get her I1, her stocks are just through the roof. You don't even need her at I6. Like she's basically practically unkillable with her kit. Like enemies can't reach her. She can shred bosses. She can shred mobs. She also makes open world exploration just a lot easier. You don't have to like try to like bee hop up walls and stuff like that. So she's a really convenient character. What's up, Shadura? Shad, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Plays insane for quality of life and basically every content. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Psyche's just she's cracked, man. Like I love Psyche because, like I said, inside the immersive theater, she's just doing massive amounts of damage, and even outside the immersive theater, she does massive amounts of damage. She's really easy to build. And if you have characters like Daphne on your team or Truffle, like it's just even at I0, you just automatically give her the quality of life improvement she needs while just damage amping her to like the ninth degree. Like she's just so cracked. Glove designers hate whoever allowed her to be added. I know, right? Like she's just so cracked at this game, man. Psyche's just up there. She's goat. She's 100% goat. Randy, I'm gonna put Randy in D tier. He's gonna be our first D tier character. I think he's actually kind of in a bad spot right now because he's a defense scaler. He makes like an excellent support. Yeah, you can argue it, but like after being an in game for as long as I've been an in game for, he's just not necessary in any way, shape, or form. By the time you get to the true end game, you will bypass enemy shields and all that stuff like pretty much with ease and kill your level content. There's nothing that's really like difficult at all. Maybe if you're doing like immersive theater and you're using like a character that wasn't on level and you have all those like annoying enemies with like the crazy hyper shields, but then after that you're gonna need your main damage dealer to actually kill the health because Randy doesn't interact with HP. I don't know if it's a bug with him, but he doesn't really interact with HP. He only attacks shields, and then after that he does no damage. So he's D tier. I think they need to rework his kit or just rework the scaling. Once they fix the scaling and how defense and HP like really applies damage to some targets and stuff like that, I think characters like Hellfire, characters like Randy's, their stocks will definitely go up. But as of right now, it's just kind of like if you're only using them to shred shields, I think it's kind of redundant and you don't really need it. When you actually understand how builds work inside the game, shields aren't an issue. So I'm gonna throw Randy in D. Randy will be shield for the theater that gives enemies 10x shields. Yeah, yeah, I can 100% see it like in shields and stuff like that. Cause like again, it's only for shields. But by then, like when it comes to like the builds and stuff, like I don't have any issues shredding high level enemy content shields like at all. And then you still need to damage their HP. And because Randy can't interact with the HP, it's just kind of like you kind of have someone who isn't really doing a whole lot there. But some of these other characters, like when you have your trigger probability at 100, I think meta actually should be trigger prob. Trigger probability is the biggest thing for meta right now, at least in my take, because raw damage in this game is good. Most people probably think crit chance, crit damage is like the best way to go. But then if you have no trigger probability, you're not actually applying your character's attribute, which is their huge source of damage, and you kind of want to have that application applied. And then you do things like spike, which automatically rips through things like shields. So characters like Lyn, for example, right? She doesn't care about enemy shields. If you ever watch a Lyn use her abilities, it's because of the fact that Lyn is a trigger prob user that she can just shred shields while also shredding their HP simultaneously. And that's why Lyn is so strong, right? Inside and outside her own content. Is because of the fact that she's a trigger probability user, and it's kind of like you don't need Randy. When you actually have these characters built, you don't need Randy. So maybe later on with the 10Xs, not in like the immersive theater, because immersive theater, again, I'm just ripping through immersive theater. I don't need Randy in in-game content. Like none of those enemies there are sustaining the amount of damage I'm pushing out. As an I5 Lyn player, that's very, very true. Yeah, it's because her trigger probability. She can keep applying her pyro, and because she's also doing spike damage, or spike damage, she's like just eating away at their shields. So Randy isn't like, he's not needed there. So that's why I'm gonna throw him D tier. He's just kind of like, he's just there. He's just aura farming. That's all he does. Is just aura farm. Other than that, nothing. Rebecca, obviously, I'm a Rebecca stan. I've been trying to put everyone on Rebecca. I think Rebecca offers the most flexibility inside the game in terms of a unit. Like her AoE is honestly insane. Her build diversity is great. She can interact with so many different like weapons inside the game to come up with multiple different builds. And unfortunately, I think she gets the slight buff of she's a standard unit. She was given to you for free. And I think Hero Games, when they were designing this game, they had Rebecca in mind before they put some of these other characters like out. Like Rebecca seemed like she was more thought of for this style of game than other characters, because again, going back to how her turrets work, going back to her specific demon wedges, she has demon wedges that actually changes the way her abilities work, whereas like some of these other characters, I haven't seen any other character whose ability changes based off the demon wedge you equip, right? They just end up they have like just better scaling or something like that. But Rebecca, she gets scaling and a shift, right? And that's what makes me think that Rebecca's like the only character that the devs really sat there and put a lot of thought into compared to the other units. Like they're good, but they're like carbon copies from other games. But Rebecca's kind of like, hey, we know we're making this game. We're switching to this style of game. It's not going to be like your traditional gacha. So we're going to give her multiple mods that actually change the way her turrets work, or the way her ultimate works, right? It's kind of cool. Like you can mess around with Rebecca a lot. She does so much damage, right? And I have so much, like, a lot of fun building her. So she's definitely SS tier. She can clear content with ease when it comes to that. Rah! What's up, King? What's up, Maki? And her design is a good example of her kit being well designed. 100%. 100%. I love Rebecca a lot. And it's kind of crazy looking at how many characters are in SS and versus S and A, right? People are probably looking at this tier list like, yeah, this guy's a crack monkey. Rhythm, I am super biased. I love Rhythm, but at the same time, my biasness has to drop just a little bit. I'm a Rhythm main. I love Rhythm. You'll see me like just run around with this girl like all day. Right now, Rhythm suffers from the way her kit works. She has a lot of sanity drainage. And you do have to build her for max sanity, but you also want to still build her for range, and her demon wedges kind of conflict with what you want to do, so you have to go out of your way to get other different weapons and stuff like that to try to like compensate for areas that you can't really improve inside her kit with her demon wedges as of right now. So it kind of like restricts her build a little bit more than some other units, and because she's a weekly character too, you can't really I6 this unit right away. So I'm gonna have to put her in A tier, despite the fact she is my favorite character inside the game and she's the character I have the most fun with. So ignoring my biasness, I'm just gonna put her in A tier for these very reasons. But She does do a lot of damage, and she can still handle high content perfectly fine. It's just the quality of life in terms of like actually building the unit. And again, you can't get her I6 right away. I do think that I'm gonna have to slap her into the A tier category despite everything else, because some of these other characters, they're way friendlier, they're a lot easier, and you can actually sustain their kits or like fully get them up and running, and they don't have some of the drawbacks that Rhythm will experience currently. So I'm gonna slap her in A. There's that Psyche who doesn't even use her scythe. True. You know what's crazy? I feel like Psyche should use her scythe inside her flying form. Like, I thought she was going to be a full-blown Titania, but she can't use her melee in her flying form. And I think giving her like a scythe melee in her flying form would be like absolutely sick. And it could be like a damage amp of some kind, right? Like when you're in that state, you do more damage with the melee. So it kind of like encourages you to play up close. That's what I personally think. That's what I personally think. I would love to see that. Uh, Sybil. Sybil's gonna, for me right now, I haven't fully built Sybil, but Sybil kind of same thing. She falls in the same category as Hellfire. I think these two are like roughly around. Um, Sybil might be like more like B tier possibly, but I haven't really seen too many Sybils lately in the end game, and my buddy's currently building her. But I'm gonna throw in a C tier because she kind of suffers from the same thing as Hellfire, and she did get nerfed, unfortunately. So with her nerfs and stuff like that, it's kind of hard for me to really judge her later on. Um, as of right now, but like earlier, like before her nerfs and stuff like that, I thought she was like kind of hovering around here with the potential to skyrocket up. But I haven't built her myself yet to really formulate my own strong personal opinion. But again, due to the things I've mentioned about HP and defense scaling, it's kind of like she is kind of in a really questionable spot right now inside the game. So I am going to throw her in C tier. My thoughts may change later on once I actually build this unit. She is a standard unit, so you can actually farm multiple copies of her. So it might give her a slight edge over like characters like Hellfire. So maybe she's B tier in that sense. So we'll probably say B to be on the safe side, because you can I6 her. Maybe her I6 might change the way her kit functions and makes her like way more of a powerhouse than what she is currently. Um, Tabby, unsure. I'm gonna throw an unsure category. Looking at Tabby's things, I wouldn't necessarily use Tabby for damage. I would use her just for like AoE control and buffing Rebecca. Like that's all I would use Tabby for. Um, if she gets like a little buff later on, like Hydroid from Warframe, in which she makes enemies increase their drop chance loot, like oh my god, I would instantly just start SS because I need as much farming as possible, right? So if they make her like a farming unit in which she makes enemies drop more loot, then like just out of pure biasness, because I'm struggling for some loot right now, should be SS. But for now, I'm just gonna throw an unsure. She is also currently a weekly character, so even if you did get this character, even if you wanted to argue that she's good, if you're someone who has her and stuff like that, you won't be able to I6 her, so she's gonna fall off a little bit, roughly around. I do know this character doesn't have a whole lot of damage inside their kit when it comes to scaling, so that much leaves it there. But as far as like B, C, D, that I can't really determine, or A tier, I can't really throw her in any of these categories. So she's unsure for me, and at least in my opinion, right? Like I'm just gonna be on the safe side and not throw any false information on her and just say unsure. Uh, Truffle, this little piggy here is kind of cracked, dude. She's kind of goated. She's kind of goated. Dare I say it? She's S tier. She's an S tier unit. Again, she gets the buff from the fact that she's currently inside the immersive theater. So outside the immersive theater, because you can't really farm as a standard unit, she would probably be around A. But because she's currently on the immersion side for Psyche, she's S. And she's also Psyche's best teammate too. If you really want to buff Psyche's damage as well as her resolve and all that stuff like that, Truffle is just like undisputed GOAT in that category. So she's going to be S tier for sure. And she provides healing for the team. The only thing that sucks about her is that she kind of restricts your team, because you can't get her passive buff if you don't have. I think you need to have 2 extra units. You need to have a full animal team in order to get her passive, from my understanding. I don't think it's just like her and Psyche. I think you have to have 2 other NMO units. I'll have to go back and reread her passive, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So you kind of are forcing yourself to use Daphne and stuff like that on a team. She's C tier, I would say. I can't say she's C tier. I really can't because of how strong her buff is for Psyche, and then she does do some damage in mobbing, and because of the fact she is an animal user, she does have HP scaling, but she's like the only HP scaler who has a higher scaling percentage than some of these other characters. So she does do damage. In fact, you can watch some people do some DPS with Truffle. Um, and because she's also proficient with the bow that's currently out that they give you at trial rank 45, that bow's insane. It applies all the buffs that Psyche's gonna want and need, as well as the rest of her team, like Daphne. So she's over buffing these characters like crazy, right? Allowing that sustain to happen, and then she does a good amount of damage herself because she's also buffing herself off the bow and then off her abilities, and then the damage off the piggy is also just really nice. Um, so yeah, it and her boost is just so dramatic. It's such a dramatic boost on Psyche that I can't throw her in the C tier. I just can't. Her kit is restrictive though, so I'm not gonna make her S tier or SS, but she's regular. I'll say she's regular S. If you want to like really argue and just say because of like the restrictive kit nature, then we can say A tier, but I don't think she's anything below that. So we can say A to S, right? We'll say A tier. How about that? A tier for the actually, yeah, A tier is fine. I'm down with dropping her to A tier because it kind of matches the rhythm complaint that I have, even though I'm a rhythm main. So we'll say A tier. I think that's a lot more fair, right? Because it wasn't for the restricted nature of that passive. So A tier for sure. Um, this little fella I heard is pretty good. Yale and Oliver. I heard he's actually pretty good. But I haven't built him myself, so I'm gonna put him unsure. Um, he does have a lot of AOE, it looks like, and he is a pyro unit. And because he's a pyro unit, you can probably throw him up in an SS right now for the immersive theater. But I'm not gonna throw him SS because that's unfair because you can't get him I6, right? You can't I6 his character because he is a nocturnal weekly. So I would probably say like S. But if that's true, maybe A. Because apparently he does a lot of damage, like an insane amount of damage right now, what I'm being told. But I don't have him, and I haven't personally seen it myself, so unsure category. But so if you are curious about this character, maybe there's someone out there who might be able to showcase some Yell and Oliver. I don't have them yet on my account, and that's about it. These characters are all unreleased, and I think that's our tier list video. And I think that's very accurate in my opinion. You put Outsider SS tier? Yeah, yeah, I'll throw Outsider in SS tier for sure. Especially after playing with you, Nimbus, for sure. Oh, you talking about Sybil, not Truffle? Oh, I'm sorry. Two of the same element, any work, so Lynn plus Margie would count. Rebecca using melee. Okay, I read that. He might have the biggest AoE in the game with his ult. You think he might have the biggest AoE with his ultimate? Yell and Oliver? Bigger than Rebecca? Bigger than characters like Hellfire? Like, Hellfire has a lot of AoE. And same thing with, like, Rhythm has a lot of AoE too. A lot of AoE. Like, Rhythm's AoE is actually kind of ridiculous because the way Rhythm's AoE works is like, I wouldn't really say it's like chain lightning. So it keeps chaining damage across like every enemy that's like close together. So it just really it just makes her damage potential like kind of cracked. And if you put range on Rhythm, my favorite thing about her is the fact that she hits enemies through walls that you can't see. Like I can be in one room and in the next room, like enemies are being zapped by my lightning, and you'll just never see them. So I'm killing enemies that haven't even like came into the room yet, and that's why I really like Rhythm. So she has a lot. So you think Yell has more AOE than her? Like he's really good. I just have to figure out how to more damage build, but he's really strong. Yeah. Gilio is so hot. Which one is Gilio? Yeah, I'll throw Outsider there. We ranked Outsider in SS tier because you can I6 him, and the fact that he is currently on the immersive theater, so like you can run him and rock him in like the tower there, and then with my build personally, all my melees, I feel like my boy would just go absolutely ballistic, right? Like he's gonna go ballistic. So um he's SS for me. He might not because of Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca's AoE is redonkulous. Like her shit's nasty. Actually disgusting. Like this is definitely a character they really sat there and thought about. So like all the Rebecca hate and stuff like that. Like, I get it. She's probably one of the most popular characters, but she's one of the most popular characters for a reason. Like, this is actually a really well thought out character. And unlike every other character, she actually has specific demon wedges made for her, which is kind of insane. So I'm real curious to see like later on what these other characters are gonna get, kind of like in Warframe, if they're gonna like all have like some kind of ability or demon wedge that changes the way like their E or ultimate skill works. Because right now Rebecca's the only one I know of that actually has a demon wedge that changes her ability and gives her more of a boost to her overall kit. Right? Like that's just kind of nasty and raw. I'm hyped that post-launch units aren't just waifus. Facts, right? Right? It's finally over. That piece of shit is liberated. Congratulations, King. All right, man. Well, that's it for this video. I just want to do the tier list. So I think we can agree that that's actually pretty good, right? I think that's fair rating. Is there anything you guys want to like say or like change around a little bit? You're gonna put like Sybil a little bit lower, you said, but we need someone in the B tier, right? I'm giving Sybil the benefit of the doubt because of the fact that you can I6 her. So I don't want to put her on the same category with Hellfire because you can I6 her as a standard unit, right? That might be what she might need. Just a little bit. Just give her like a little bit of an edge. It ain't anything crazy. She ain't going like deep in the end game or nothing like that, right? She's just slightly above Hellfire because of that very, very reason. Um, but yeah, yeah. Honestly, this is, in my opinion, I think this showcases how good the game really is, like how well the game is made. Because there aren't that many characters that are, I would honestly say, are really bad. I think some of these characters are actually really good or serve a purpose on your account. It's just gonna dictate how you build them, right? And like the amount of SS characters too, like we have more SS right now than we have dog. So I think that's actually kind of impressive and telling of itself. Now, obviously, there's people who will argue me down and say these characters suck because they just don't know how to build them, right? Like I've seen people complain about things. I had someone tell me that